What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Sounds Good Gaming. Today, we're going to be talking about Switch 2 because that is the thing that everyone wants to talk about all the time at the moment. And I've got the wonderful Cork Ben joining me. Do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Hello. I'm Cork Ben. You may know me from making Rayman videos and having strong opinions about them.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is pretty much how I'm aware of you is through Rayman. So yeah, we're both pretty obsessed, and I'm wondering how many times we're going to manage to slip Rayman into this video, despite it not being about Rayman at all. It's something that I pride myself in my ability to do. So
we'll find a way.
So yeah. This is also quite fun because this is the first time we're ever actually talking to each other, like not on message as well. So it's yeah. It's a fun day of new things for everyone. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit of Switch 2. I guess this is quite a new channel, so from my perspective, I am a pretty big Nintendo fan. I have been, I guess, the whole time, like, you know, portable consoles and stuff, but like around, weirdly enough, around the Wii U era, I was really tuned into everything. Most people weren't, but I was really tuned into it. And I had a great time, sort of like, yeah, actually getting hyped about stuff and then into the Switch. What about you? I don't really know how much Nintendo has kind of influenced your gamer experience.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm kind of the opposite in terms of timeline, which I'm almost disappointed about, because the Wii U, despite, I guess, the the online reception of it, there were a lot of amazing games on the Wii U, hence why the first couple of years of the Switch were basically Wii U ports.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think my first console was a Wii in 2006, and for years that was my go-to for everything. But yeah, DS's, and then I guess I jumped straight into the Switch when that came out, missing the Wii U, but getting all the Wii U goodness with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and stuff. But yeah, I've always been kind of a varied gamer, so I like a bit of everything. Nintendo, I guess platformers, and especially 3D platformers, like Rayman, that's the first mention of him.
Here he is.
They've always been kind of my favourite genre and my go-to. So Nintendo consoles have always been very, very easy to have fun with, and play what I want to on a Nintendo console. Like Banjo-Kazooie and games like that from the N64. Quite often I'll play ports on not that console, but it's kind of a Nintendo based thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know it's weird that it's an Xbox property now. I can remember when Mr. Sakurai did his presents video for the Banjo in Super Smash Bros. Fighter, and it was like, if you want to play Banjo-Kazooie, check it out on Xbox. It was so strange, so weird. But there we go. That's where we are in the world of Rare. But yeah, so I guess we're both pretty into Nintendo, and so like for the Switch, like that was a pretty big platform for you.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I'll kind of have phases of like 3 months of playing the Switch non-stop, and then 3 months I don't pick it up and it's a bit dusty.
Yeah, no, I think similar here actually. When the Switch first came out, I was just like all over it. Like every day it'd be with me when I went to work. So, you know, pre-pandemic was working in a major city every single day. So it was really getting good use at that point. I think especially because like Breath of the Wild was coming out, and then it was like Splatoon, and then Mario Odyssey and stuff. So it was pretty consistent for me. So and then it did drop off. It did drop off, especially now that stuff like the Steam Deck exists as well. I'm a big promoter for the Steam Deck. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully with the Switch 2, we're getting back into the time where the Switch will be coming with me absolutely everywhere. I will not leave the house without it, because we're, you know, back to the point where Nintendo is kind of like on top, I guess, when it comes to the handheld space. Like the Switch has been out for almost 8 years. Yeah, it's been out for a very long time. So definitely looking forward to something new.
Well, I've seen people saying the new Switch 2 design is just a copy of the Steam Deck or a copy of the PlayStation Portal, and like, well, no, they copied the Switch because the Switch did it right the first time.
I mean, the handheld space when the Switch came out was just, there was nothing. It just didn't exist. Like the 3DS was dying, and it was kind of like, is there space for this kind of thing anymore? And luckily, they came back with the Switch and proved that there was. Because I was really worried about that, because I love handheld gaming, and having the flexibility to be able to play stuff on the go is so lovely, especially when you're you want to chill out on the couch or chill out in bed or whatever, or like on the go. It's lovely. But yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, where we're at in terms of Switch stuff. So I was going to put in like rewatch the video, but we don't need to rewatch the video. We've all seen the video. So yeah, Nintendo last Thursday, when we're recording this, today is Wednesday, they announced Nintendo Switch 2 with a very sort of glamorous, like, fancy video of it sort of like evolving from the Switch 1. We saw the new Joy-Con controllers, we saw some hints at potential new functionality, and then of course we saw Mario Kart, whatever it's going to be called, new Mario Kart game. But the first thing I want to ask you about is like, what do you... Because I think we very briefly spoke about this on Twitter. What do you think of the name?
I wasn't a fan to begin with. It's grown on me because I understand that's exactly what it is. It is a Switch 2. And people have pointed out, PS1, PS2, all the way up to PS5, they've just gone with numbers. But it's interesting because the reason the Xbox 360 wasn't called the Xbox 2 is because it was always going to be one number behind PlayStation. People are always going to go for the higher number. That's psychologically what we're like. But thinking about it, Nintendo's operating on a different planet. They can have a Switch 2 and it makes sense. And my initial concern was that it would be a Wii U situation where people wouldn't differentiate it enough. But I think the Switch is so monumental now that people will just see a 2 and see the Switch and think, well, yeah, I loved that. Let's have more of it. Whereas I think the Wii U, if it was called the Wii 2, it probably would have been fine. But people did think the Wii U was like another balance board or the Wii Motion Plus. It was just like gamepad expansion. But yeah, I think it's appropriate. It is a Switch 2. It's a sensible name.
It's a fairly boring name, like, for sure. Like, and that's the thing. I just don't think it's for us, like, gaming enthusiasts, because, like, we obviously know it's a new Nintendo platform. For me, it's just like, it's for grandma, it's for whoever, who's going to the store around Christmas time this year to pick it up for their kids or whatever, and has no idea what any of this stuff means. Like, it is very boring and very safe, and it was what I was hoping Nintendo would do, because first of all, I love the Switch, and I'm like, I don't really want them to try and like force some kind of like new thing when the hybrid platform I think currently really works, and yeah, so I was quite happy with that. The other thing I noticed from the video was they didn't kind of explain how it works, because they're just like, people know what this is.
It's got the absolute sequelness. It was kind of like a trailer for a movie, and you know what's going to happen. It's a sequel. You just show some good shots and get the vibes across, but you don't need to explain anything from scratch, because we see how the Joy-Cons attach. We see that it works as a mouse. They don't need to elaborate on that, so I wish they would.
Oh, so do I. I'm like, please make this as good as we hope it's gonna be, because I love Nintendo. Nintendo is like one of my favorite gaming companies. They constantly surprise and delight me. However, there is just like that Nintendo quality of like, this has really good potential. We're gonna not do that with it. We're gonna do something else instead.
I'm concerned.
That scares me.
I'm concerned it's going to be added simply so that like the 3 SNES games that used a mouse can now be put on, or they're going to do something
for Mario Paint. It's just like, that's it.
My hopes are that they'll do something like Mario Maker 3 and it'll be incredible to control, but my main wishes for that are that it's Mario Maker Wonder, essentially. If there was a way to code your own, I forgot what they were called now, those magic seeds that basically make the level freak out.
Oh yeah, like the Wonder Seeds, That
was it. If you could make your own of them, I would buy that day one, and I wouldn't put it down.
Oh my goodness. See, look, this is making me excited, and then it's going to be like, we made it so you can control the UI with a pointer, and it's like, oh, god damn it. Like, because like the potential of something like Mario Maker is so high. Like, you could really do some crazy stuff with it, and you could actually make something that's potentially better than the Wii U version to control and to build in. Because the Switch version is great. I love it. It has way more functionality, way more features, but building is just not as fun. and it is because of the lack of Wii U gamepad. It's like the one thing that the Wii U gamepad actually had value was make Mario Maker. And so yeah, I'd be interested to see. I really hope they do Mario Maker 3 because potential is so high.
I think they can, honestly, because I was wondering when Mario Maker first came out, will there be a place for another like 2D mainline Mario game? Because everyone's just going to make their own levels and they'll be better or whatever. Mario Wonder obviously proved that they can still do it and they can still win.
Yeah.
And I think that if they do a Mario Wonder style Mario Maker, it would fill that gap perfectly, but certainly wouldn't take over. I mean, they'd have to innovate again, I guess, with the next 2D Mario, but they already know that. They're probably already working on it. So I think it would be fine. I think they will do it, to be honest, because Mario Maker 2 was successful.
It was successful. It's interesting because it's like on the Wii U, like 2 games, Mario Kart 8 and Mario Maker, and maybe Splatoon as well, but I think Mario Maker and Mario Kart 8 were the two, like, despite how poorly this console sold, these 2 games were pretty successful. And yeah, the leap to Switch wasn't as groundbreaking as I think Nintendo were probably hoping with Mario Maker, but I think it was enough that it justifies a third game, and especially if you kind of push it as this big point of control cursor mode kind of like game where it really on like a tabletop mode, or if you're using like a lap board or something, it really elevates the experience to be like something very precise, very easy to use. I think that could be a big win, and I mean, it depends how they market the game as well, I suppose, but I think it could do really well, and I really hope they do, because Mario Maker is quite a personal game for me. During the pandemic, I was streaming Mario Maker 2 quite a lot, and it just really helped me through that time. So I'm really hopeful that this is what we get at some point, at least.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I think one big thing they should do with that is lean into the coding aspect of it. I'm not saying it needs to be so advanced that kids can't play it, but I think if they've got the Wonder Seeds, if they bring them into it, there's obviously they can have presets. They can have this Wonder Seed does this, but I think there's space for them to get a bit more advanced, and with that mouse functionality and maybe other peripherals, I think they could create a brand new experience that is still Mario Maker, but it's not just, oh hey look, we're selling it to you again.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it could be a real experience. Yeah,
because 2 is very comprehensive, and so it would have to be vastly different to sell it as a new game, because obviously the art styles are the same for like the older games especially. But yeah, no, I think Mario. I know we're being purely speculatory. We've gone down like a very specific rabbit hole, but I'm very interested. Do you think that needs to be like a launch window game?
It depends what else they've got coming, I think.
Yeah.
There needs to be...
It would sell the crap out of the cursor mode, mouse functionality stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There needs to be something that uses the mouse. And something major Mario related. Whether it's the same game, Mario Maker 3, or it's a game that uses the mouse and also a new 3D Mario, I would happily accept that. There needs to be both of those things. Yeah, I do think they'll do something with the mouse. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it in the trailer for the Switch.
Yeah, in the reveal. Yeah, they wouldn't have sort of like made a thing of it. I'm interested because that would be a lot of Mario, because we have a lot of, well, obviously we know Mario Kart is coming as well, but we also have a lot of reason to believe that there'll be a 3D Mario at some point very soon after launch, which we'll probably talk about more in depth later. But, yeah, I'm really because it's the thing when new hardware comes out, you're like, I want all these games, and it's like, yeah, okay, but we've got to be realistic and say some are going to come out straight away and some are going to take a couple of years and a few, or maybe get there, because obviously like they could capitalize on the success of Animal Crossing, or they could be like teasing what the next big Zelda game is going to be. Like there's so much that they could do, especially in this direct that's coming up. But going back to the hardware, we said it's more of the same. It's another handheld like hybrid console. Are you okay with that? Do you think it's, a lot of people are saying it's lacking innovation? I was interested to see what you think about that.
Nah, see, I was expecting this from Nintendo, and I think it's absolutely fine. They, from the beginning of time, have had a habit of doing a cycle where they make something new, and then the next iteration is the same but better.
Yeah.
And then they innovate again. So the SNES was just a better, same idea. N64, the GameCube was basically that, but more advanced.
Yeah.
Wii U was a more advanced Wii. I knew the Switch 2 would just be the Switch, but what can we do with 8 years newer technology? Same with the Game Boy and everything, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, they were the same thing.
Yeah.
DSi, 3DS, essentially the same thing, but better. It was, I think it was always going to happen. I do think a lot of the complaints are coming from the fact that the Switch has been around so long that it kind of feels like it's been 2 console generations anyway. But no, I mean, I'd love to separate home consoles from handheld consoles just because there's an untapped market, I think. There's a lot of DS games or 3DS games that we're not going to get anymore just because the Switch is too powerful for them. So they're just trying to make full-fledged games work on it. So then we're stuck in the case of having something like Mortal Kombat, I don't know which one it was, one of the new ones, that runs and looks horrible, but it's the full game.
I think. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 1.
They could have just made like a 3DS port that was an entirely different game like they always used to. So I love the fact that it's a hybrid console, and I'm glad it's still going. I now just think Sony need to make like a Vita 2 or something.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like now Nintendo's done this, and now that the Steam Deck and all those kind of other consoles, like portable PCs, exist, I feel like we're never going to get that kind of like handheld experience again in the same way that we used to. In the, here's Rayman 1, but it's super fucking cropped in, and you can you can see about 2 centimeters ahead of where you're jumping and all this kind of stuff. I feel like we're never gonna get that charm or that magic again. And it's something that I think about with Nintendo a lot, because we think about Sony. They really have been very lackluster, in my opinion, for the PS5. Like in terms of games, like the output has been very poor, in my opinion, and I think it's because Sony's scared to make AA games. I feel like a lot of game companies are, and something I actually appreciate about Nintendo is they don't really care. They will still charge you full price for it. Like, don't get me wrong, but they will make Mario versus Donkey Kong or whatever, and it's just like a little game. But it's not quite that handheld. Yes, that handheld game that you're talking about. It's like maybe a step above that. But I do hope that Nintendo, now that they have more power at their disposal with the Switch 2, that they don't stop making small scale games. The development time is way less, and they're way nicer for the developers, and they can get it out in a good fashion. That's how they have such a good lineup all the time.
Well, I actually saw something really interesting about their development time. They consistently release something new every month. Occasionally they'll miss a couple of deadlines, but almost every month there is something.
Yes.
And I can't remember what game it was, but I read somewhere that there was a game that was done for 18 months and it was just sitting there because they were waiting for that.
Fire Emblem.
Yeah. And there was a gap that needed filling, and that's when they used it. So they are very sensible about having short development times, giving lots of wiggle room, and making sure there's a constant supply of games. So I do think if they're going to up the, I guess, scope and scale of everything, they'll do it sensibly so that,
I hope so.
Yeah, it might take a bit longer to make, but they've planned ahead. Unlike Sony, who will just balloon the budgets and re-release the same game 3 times because the budget calls for selling it to you 3 times.
Absolutely. And I think, I know we're really off topic, but like I think it's like Spider-Man 2. The budget for that game was insane. Like, I can't remember how many copies it had to sell to just break even, but it was like in the millions, and I think it was up to like 10 million or something. I can't remember specifically, but it's like that. It just doesn't feel sustainable to, if every single game you release has to be like a like financial like behemoth. I just don't understand how, first of all, you can have anything that's truly creative and truly trying stuff new, and also I don't know how you can have consistent releases, because surely just the amount of time and money you're having to pour into these games is 5, 6, 7 years worth of development time. And don't get me wrong, Nintendo has games like that. Like Tears of the Kingdom took 5 or 6 years to develop, but they also do have Mario versus Donkey Kong, which is like a very very small game, very very small scale. They have like the Paper Mario remake. They have a bunch of stuff that just is like, I'd say double A to triple A games that have a quicker turnaround time. So yeah, I don't know how the rest of the industry combats this. I really just hope Nintendo doesn't lose that going into Switch 2 if we're going to try and tie it to Switch 2. Try and loosely tie this discussion topic to the thing we're actually talking about. But yeah, I just hope they don't lose that magic, because like some of the smaller scale games are really fun as well, and just.
Well, that's it. Even if they charge full price for a game that was cheaper to make and quicker to make and smaller in scale, I had a better time per minute with Mario Wonder than I did with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even though that was 10 times as long.
Yes,
Mario Wonder was worth my money more because it was just more fun. I know that Mario Wonder was a big one, but the same could be applied to Mario versus Donkey Kong. I haven't played it, but you never know.
It's all right. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the best game in the world. It was okay. It was fine for what it was. It doesn't outstay its welcome though, so that's what we appreciate about Mario versus Donkey Kong. But yeah, so like back to our comment, like more of the same. I think is okay, and I think separating out the consoles again, I think would be hard for a lot of people. So separating out into like a home console and a hand would be hard for a lot of people, because first of all, it means the game lineups will be halved essentially, because some will be coming out in the handheld. So, and then also, Nintendo then has to try and compete again in the home console hardware space again. Like, because if you're just making a home console, it needs to be more competitive with what else is happening. Whereas with the hybrid scene, they can still be doing exactly what they're doing and just not really worrying too much about the specifications of things. Just kind of leading the market. So I know something that you'd want, and I'd be quite keen to see that as well. But I think for the everyday person, I think this makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely,
I'm okay with it being more of the same. I love the Switch. I think it's probably my favorite console of all time.
I'm the same. Yeah, more Switch is absolutely fine, and I'm just glad that it's going to be more powerful and do more things. That's if they're not going to do something new, this is, which I don't think they need to, this is absolutely the best thing they could have done, I think.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. 100% agree. Very glad that they're doing that. Okay, so let's move on. I've got another topic. Unless you have anything you want to bring up, I don't want to just drive the conversation the whole time. If you've,
I've got a small list. We've covered Mario Maker 3. That was the first one on my list. I guess I could bring up one thing that I mentioned about the hardware. Sure. I guess while we were talking about innovating, I saw a leaked patent a long time ago for a second screen that can attach at the top. I think
that's what we're getting.
Yeah, I think at some point, maybe not straight away, but I think they're gonna do a DS style thing.
This is actually Nintendo DS3. This isn't the Switch 2. This is DS3, or DS. I don't know, what would you call it? 4DS.
4DS, yeah. Switch DS. I think certainly if they did do that, even just as, hey, you can buy this, it's quite overpriced, but it means that Nintendo Switch Online can have DS games. I'd be all for that. I think that'd be fantastic. Obviously, then they could use that to develop new Switch games that would make use of it. I personally don't think that's what they're going to do. I think they patented it. That's not how you say the word. I think they copyrighted the plan, so no one else would do it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it'd be insane. It would be so. It's a very Nintendo thing to do, to be fair. Like,
yeah,
it would completely split the user base of the Switch 2. Like, can we make a game for dual screens? Well, actually, only 10 million people bought this screen, but 80 million people have a Switch 2 or something. That's so. But it's such a Nintendo thing that I can't discount it. And I feel like there is a top-mounted USB-C port, which does make life easier when charging. But they didn't fix it with the OLED Switch.
Nah.
They didn't, so I'm like, I feel like it has a purpose. It has a reason to be beyond convenient charging.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some other peripherals as well, whether it's something, I don't know if they want to do augmented reality games and they have something hanging out above the Switch. I think that could be it. But I definitely
a camera
think
or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think if they do a dual screen thing, it'll be a real one-time gimmick thing for a game, or just so you can port DS games, which I know a lot of people have been asking for, and one of the reasons they haven't done it is because how would you do
hard.
it? Yeah, and
Yeah, tricky.
yeah, the people that are asking as well, I can say this as someone that would appreciate this. I would pay for an extra screen for that functionality. So if that is what they're doing, I get it, because they know it's going to work.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be really cool. The only question is then, like, I guess it's a handheld thing only, because like I don't know how that would work, but I would just love a way to play like some of the 3DS games. I'd love for a way for them to be ported, like upscaled and like, you know, remastered, I guess, on Switch. That'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think that top mounted USB-C port is there for something. And I don't therefore, but yeah, some kind of accessory, some kind of something that just increases the functionality of the Switch in some way. And talking about increasing the functionality of the Switch in some way, so this is something. We've already talked about this. Mouse mode, mouse con, whatever it is, whatever it's called, it'll have some dumb Nintendo name when it comes to it. So I personally think that the reveal trailer confirmed that to be real. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. We see the Joy-Con, they jump on their little rails and they scurry off for a bit, and then they come back up and attach onto the console. So, like, you know, when the leaks were happening, they were talking about this. My mind was like racing, obviously Mario Maker, but even like third-party games like Baldur's Gate 3 or like Civ or these kind of games. I feel like that has a lot of potential for making games that are really good on PC actually good on console for the first time ever. So yeah, what do you think about mouse mode?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I am waiting for it to be, hey, you can navigate this terrible eShop that we've not updated.
Yep, it's the same. Yeah, when we boot up the eShop and you get the and you're just like, no, not again. Another 8 years of this.
I think I would sell it.
Just like, send it back. I'm done. This is the thing that pushed me over the edge.
Yeah, no, I do think it's a good idea, definitely. I think a lot of... Because it's built in, it's guaranteed. I think a lot of first-party games, like the new 3D Mario, for example, if and when that comes, it could absolutely have a little gimmick that uses it. And I think because they put it in that reveal trailer, they animated it. That wouldn't have been quick. They didn't do that as a response to the leaks. Like, this was already clearly planned to be part of the reveal. They show the important stuff. I do think it's going to be quite a big deal, at least for first-party games. Not, hey, look at this whole game that you play with the mouse, but a good 5% of this can be done with the mouse, and it enhances the experience. Whether it's just drawing things as part of a mini game or moving the mouse in the same way you'd point the Wiimote. Someone pointed out to me that Mario Galaxy 2 is very, very motion control orientated in a way that the Switch maybe wouldn't have handled very well.
Yes, more so than the first game as well. Like, Yoshi and just the way he's controlled is so much more reliant on pointer controls, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So if they were to port that with mouse controls, I would be a very happy boy.
Yeah, that'd be so good. I didn't even think about that. That's such a good point. Like, it could really open up like what Wii games could come back to the Switch in a different way. Like anything that relied on that kind of to play. I'm trying to think right now of any examples. I think Galaxy 2 is a good one.
Well, that's one of the most requested games, and there's so much not controversy, but I guess pushback whenever they port a Wii game and people say, oh, but it's just the same. Why are you charging full price for it? Well, if it's not the same because you've got mouse controls, that's, it's not a brand new game, but it's certainly something worth paying money to get a new experience with, if that makes sense. And that could be the driving force behind that. But yeah, I also do think things like Mario Maker and third-party PC games that either you can't get on Xbox and PlayStation, or they just suck on Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's just another way Nintendo will accidentally win.
Yeah. So like The Sims, right? Like for me, that's an absolute natural companion to this, because like the console version of Sims sucks ass. Like it is really bad. It really does not work. Sometimes it's just like a full-on spin-off and not actually The Sims. I feel like you could bring Sims 4 to the Switch 2 using the mouse mode. It's just full-on the PC version of The Sims, all the same like functionality and controls. And I feel like that would be insane. Like that would be a really big win if they were able to do something like that.
It really would, because you think about Xbox and PlayStation players, they are obviously very varied audiences, but you're going to get stuff like Call of Duty, FIFA, Assassin's Creed. People are going to play on console for a lot of those games. Switch players, again, also very varied, but that's where a lot of casual players are going to be.
Yeah.
A lot of casual players also like playing PC games that are like point and click, like The Sims and games of that genre. So it's a very, very good way of poaching a large amount of the PC master race market in a way that the other consoles have kept trying to do and just failed, because every time City Skylines comes out on Xbox, everyone says, oh yeah, that's a shame, and then moves back to PC.
Yeah, absolutely. And City Skylines is on the Switch, I think, the first version. So like it'd be cool if City Skylines 2 is coming to Switch 2 with appropriate control methods that actually feel comfortable to use, you know? I don't know if you've taken a Joy-Con and tried using it like a mouse, like I have. It's it works. It really feels okay.
Oh, no, I've not tried that yet. And obviously, being bigger as well, the new ones will be even better. A little bit nicer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so in the video, like this grip thing that they shot into at the start when they go into the mouse mode, you could see like it's designed to be flat on the bottom. And so that was for me the immediate confirmation that this is real. But it also just looks like this is a purpose-built, like the new Joy-Con strap accessory is now purposely built around enabling Joy-Con mode, mouse mode, rather than sort of being like I'm sure it still will be good for motion controls and stuff, but like it's almost like mouse mode first. And you could kind of see like the soft pads on the bottom that look like it's going to be to just like, you know, smooth out the experience when using it and stuff. So they really do seem to be putting their eggs all in one basket, and it does give me hope. It really does give me hope. And I hope that they can come up with a good like first party launch title, launch window title that really does show off the maximum capacity of what this thing can do in the way of like Nintendo Land or Wii Sports. I would say 1-2 Switch as well, but I don't. 1-2 Switch is terrible. I really hope we get a better kind of launch party game this time. But something like that to really kind of sell the gimmick and really kind of show what it can be used for, I think. And then, you know, give it to Metroid Prime as well. Like, you know, just let us use it for Metroid Prime. Show off how cool it is. Like, please, Nintendo.
Yeah, I think they will. I think, yeah, like you say, one of those party games like We Play, Wii Sports.
Yes.
There's going to be something like that. But you mentioned something there about motion controls and that this is leaning more towards mouse controls. And if you stop and think about the Switch, what motion control games are there? There's a few.
There's like Switch Sports, I think. That's all I can think of.
Outside of, that and maybe 1-2 Switch, but again, no one's singing their praises. It's nothing like the Wii was. And even then, it's shaking the Joy-Con and it registers a shake. There's not really pointing and there's nothing other than a shake. Yeah, it's just
gyro, right?
Yeah, so there's no need to focus on motion controls. People don't care anymore, I think. And if you've got a mouse functionality, people are always going to prefer to choose that, because
absolutely
the gimmick of pointing at your TV kind of wears thin after 10 minutes, whereas using a mouse is comfortable.
Yeah, I think we'll still get like some kind of motion control, like same gyro accelerator stuff, accelerometer, sorry. Maybe they'll just pull back on it and just not really talk about it too much, other than like, you know, when it's used. The thing I've always enjoyed is shooters. I think have used it quite well. So like Splatoon, even like Doom, the port of Doom on Switch, like uses the gyro in a really nice way. So I think, we're definitely entering like a more subtle era of motion control. So maybe they just pull back on talking about it. Cursor mode is the new thing that they're really, let's talk about this. Let's
Yeah.
really sell this to people. Like, I just feel like if everything has a cursor mode, I'd be inclined to pick it up on Switch, even third party, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Even something like an open world third person action game. It's
Yeah.
nice controlling the camera with a mouse. I would prefer to do that most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, if one of my discussion points later was about sort of Microsoft stuff, but I think if the new Doom came and it had motion controls, if it had cursor controls, I would be
nice.
very tempted to pick it up on Switch as opposed to another console, because as much as sure the visual fidelity may be lower, but the controls are going to be way better, like just so much better.
It's about having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd much rather a fun game that looks like it came out 20 years ago than an extra year's development that's got the most basic combat. But look, there are rocks that fall with really realistic gravity in the background, and you can't interact with them because they're just there to make it look like we spent money on this. My priorities are having fun if I'm going to spend money on a game, and I think Nintendo know that for sure.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I think we could tell that from the trailer. I mean, the first thing they show is Mario Kart, like just the most fun, like to me at least. I fucking love Mario Kart. We didn't get much. They didn't. They did really kind of edge us along with that. I'm not gonna lie, but
they did
really good. They gave us very smart
enough information that people are talking, but that they can still show it off with a big reveal. So I think we saw in one of the zoomed out shots that there are 24 starting positions. That's really exciting, because it even says, it's not just saying here's what the game is like, it's saying, oh yeah, we're just casually throwing more players playing at once on this console. It's obviously the Switch was capable of doing a hell of a lot, but Mario Kart having 24 players is something else.
That's what I'm interested in. Like, it looks like we're not just focusing on more performance. They're like, okay, what does this extra CPU and GPU headroom, what does it allow us to do to make the game more fun? And that is more chaotic, more people on the map at once. And I really like that approach to game design, because we could all do maybe we have a controversial take. We can all do the Naughty Dog thing of just like, look how many stones slide down this hill at once and they all gather together, and you're like, okay, cool, but that's not really a gameplay feature. That's just someone being a bit like OCD when designing the game. So I'm very interested to see like how we're going to use this extra like SSD power, GPU power, CPU power, etc. To really maximize the fun in the games and the chaos and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I would happily take a new 3D Mario game that looks exactly the same as Mario Odyssey, but has hundreds of Goombas and you're flying really quickly through different locations because it loads fast. It's like the new Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I was just playing Astrobot. I was like, damn, platformers can like utilize the power. It was just the amount of particles and stuff.
It was showing off. It was amazing.
Just when there's all these gems and stuff flying at you, or coins or something, or even like every time I'd find leaves on the floor, I'd have to do the spin move to make them all fly up in the air and stuff. Like I just couldn't not do it because it's so satisfying. And I'm like, oh man, I want Nintendo to do this. Like, put this in Mario. Like, just make there be like hundreds of things on screen at once that you can interact with, and they're all like have their own like gravity and geometry and physics and stuff. So good. I'm really excited about that.
One of the things I love most about Astrobot, which I think Nintendo would absolutely do, is when you could shrink down and everything was there. And it just blew my mind. I don't know whether as you shrink, it reloads newer textures, or if the textures were always that. Yeah, surely, because there's no way they had such high quality textures loaded on tiny items the entire time on the off chance that you go tiny. But I was amazed at just how good it looked and how detailed it was. And I think that's something... Mario changes shape and size, obviously, quite a lot. So I think 3D Mario could absolutely take that idea of shrinking down and having almost like an entirely new game world worth of detail wherever you shrink.
The sky really is the limit. Like, if we're talking like PS4, maybe edging onto like towards PS4 Pro in terms of quality, I think probably more PS4 is a realistic expectation. Like, seeing what people did with that is very exciting because it's like now we get to see what Nintendo, who have a very optimized and like very efficient development process, like they really know how to get the most out of their hardware. I just the thought of what they could potentially do with that, what like a new Zelda could look like, or what a new 3D Mario could look like, it just is so exciting to me.
Yeah, it's always bizarre when I see people complaining, saying, "Oh, this is only as powerful as a PS4." Like, well, yeah, the Switch one was as powerful as an outdated Android phone when it came out, and look
It's
what
like
they
a
did.
tablet from 2015, dude. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
and PS4 is overpowered, if anything, for what I was expecting the Switch 2 to be. Nintendo
Yeah.
will make something insane as a launch title, and it's going to shut everyone up.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. And then obviously, just whenever Mr. Aonuma appears on the screen and talks about what's next for Zelda, it's going to be something that just like pushes the hardware to limits we didn't even know it had. It's like some insane stuff with it, and that is exciting. But that's further off. I don't think.
No, probably
But
not.
it's still exciting to talk about, and even from that Mario Kart trailer, like watching some like close-up analysis and stuff like that of it, like even just seeing the technical enhancements, like to the lighting, to the shadows and everything, it does make me excited because Nintendo's art styles are so strong and so powerful that like they do withstand crappy hardware, and that's what I've always appreciated about them. But now they're potentially going to be on pretty competent hardware. It is exciting.
Yeah.
Graphics nerd in me is very excited about that.
There is, yeah, I do like jangling keys occasionally. I can I can fall for something pretty. So if Nintendo do have a little bit more of that, I'm not complaining. I just don't want the rest of everything to suffer because of it. But I don't think it will. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want the development cycles to suddenly balloon by like 2 extra years or something. Because, I want them to make sure they do it within their means, I guess. Which is, I guess, what you're saying as well. Just operate within your means, but just like do what you can to just utilize that new hardware. I was replaying Mario Odyssey recently because I'm trying to get myself like amped up for the Switch. And god damn, that game is gorgeous. Like I must have appreciated it at the time, but it is just so vibrant and beautiful. And you just think about what hardware it's running on. And yeah, I just can't help but be so excited about the next iteration of what that looks like. So
it's gonna look ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to look amazing. Mario Kart looks exciting. Do you want to talk about anything from your list? Once again, I just feel like I'm dominating, so I apologize.
No worries. I was thinking there might be a lot of remasters, or next gen patches. Like the PS5 update for this 2015 game. I think we're likely to see a lot of them. Breath of the Wild is one people keep bringing up, which I think is probably inevitable. I think they've already said that, I don't know if it was Nintendo or if it was one of the leakers that has been completely correct about everything else at the time, said that they saw Breath of the Wild running like 60 FPS, 4K or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
this was pretty exciting. This was a leak. I think this is like one of the earliest Switch 2 leaks actually. It must have been a couple of years ago. It was like at Gamescom. Apparently behind closed doors, Nintendo was showing a few things running on Switch 2 hardware, and one of them was Breath of the Wild with no loading screens, running at 4K 60 FPS. And that to me, I'm just like, dude, that sounds amazing. Just tell me that. How? Because this is obviously Nintendo. How do they distribute these updates? Do you think?
Tricky, because if they do it, you put your old game cartridge in the way that, let's say, Xbox do it. You put in your 360 game into one of the newer consoles. It like re-downloads the entire game, but compatible. So I don't think Nintendo are going to do that because you're not downloading every single Switch game with a larger file size anyway, just to make it compatible. But I don't know how they could do that with just a small update. So I think, given how many deluxe editions they have released on the Switch,
Don't say it. I don't want to hear it.
I can see these being remasters rather than patches, personally.
No. I really hope you're wrong.
Me too, but I'm worried.
Oh, dude, I'm so worried that that's what it's going to be. Like, here it is, full price, Breath of the Wild remastered.
Actually, having said that, I think when Paper Mario came out, the new one, the
Yeah.
remake, there was a 4K mode turned off by default, hidden in the settings, so you can't find it. But someone, when they hacked it, saw it. So it might just be that they'll send out a small update that just
Maybe that just turns it on.
Yeah, and it's not that there's any higher resolution textures or anything. It is just
Game running.
Yeah, uncaps the frame rate, increases the resolution, and calls it a day.
If they start selling games again, I'm gonna buy it first of all. Second of all, I'm gonna be really pissed off.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's one of those things because, like, yeah, like it is the key jangle. It does excite me seeing some of these games performing on more powerful hardware. Like, you know, personally, I have downloaded and emulated Breath of the Wild on in a totally legal and free way, and you know, you can maximize the settings, you can mess around with it, and god damn, it's so beautiful. It's so good. So that's kind of I think my theory is that yes, there will be a paid element to it. I don't think they're going to do it for free. Personally, I don't think Nintendo would ever do something like that for free. My hope is that we pay £10 for an upgrade. Downloads the new version to your account, and then you can use your old cartridge, but you need to pay the upgrade fee. And then they will also do like a physical re-release of the game that's £10 more expensive.
I think that's definitely going to happen regardless, that there'll be like a physical upgraded version. But yeah, I think you're right. It'll be like how Sony do it. You know, you put in Miles Morales, and look, you pay a tenner, you can get the changed Spider-Man face on the original game, and also it runs better.
Yeah, I think that'll be the case. I hope that'll be the case, because like I don't think they're giving this for free. I just don't think that's who Nintendo is. They really value their IP. I think other companies could give it for free. Like Microsoft and etc. We've heard rumblings about like the Ori games and stuff like that maybe getting patches. I think Xbox or like other companies could do it for free, but I don't think Nintendo will.
Yeah, no, I can picture, say they re-release, if Ubisoft were to re-release the Mario and Rabbids games, they would do a remaster that you can buy, or if you own them, it's just upgraded anyway.
Yeah,
I can see that. Absolutely. Yeah, I do think though that a nice shiny Breath of the Wild will run us back a tenner at least. I can see it being 50.
Nintendo very much values their IP, so like I'm like a tenner is kind Nintendo. I saw someone else theorizing that they could lock this behind Nintendo Switch Online, which I was like, god damn, you're right. They're gonna do that.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Have the expansion pass on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
Or you have to buy the new game. Because then they'll be like, well, for the price of one game, you get all the upgrades, or you can buy the games one at a time. And I'm like, god damn it, that's right. That is what's going to happen.
That is, I can see that.
That would suck, but here we go. We are very long into recording. I do have a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. Did you have any more from your list?
The only other thing I got written down is 3D Mario, and I think we covered that, really. I got nothing else to add to it.
Yeah, me neither. I want it. I think that's the thing. I think it is coming this year. I think it's most likely going to be a holiday game, but I want it. That's my main thing for 3D Mario.
Yeah, I have my fears that the Switch is going to be a holiday console as well. But
no, we're not talking. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's going to be summer. It's going to be summer. It's going to be summer.
I think it has to be at least after June the 1st, because there's one of those hands-on demonstrations in Korea, and they're obviously not going to do that after it comes out.
Yeah, it does depend on the release strategy, I guess. So like, I don't know if Korea had it late last time, but China definitely did. Switch 1 quite late. I guess if Korea gets it late, then potentially, I think June makes sense anyway, like as a launch time for the console, because like it's a couple months after the Direct. And I'm thinking back to the Switch. Like the Switch came out like 1.3 months after the event that happened. So I think June is just a smart time for it to come out anyway, based on that.
Yeah, I think if
So
we in the next few months we're going to see a lot of games get announced from third-party developers, and if we
yeah,
start
I think
seeing
so.
a specific date that persists, then we'll know. There's
Yeah.
already a lot of stuff coming out in May and June. I think it's safe to say that it's going to be around there.
I would be pretty confident with that bet that we'd get it maybe early June. I could see late May as well, but like I think early June makes sense. I think especially if you've got Mario Kart, it's such a good summer game. You really want
Yeah,
to capitalize on that because it's like, you're going out all the time during the summer. They're, capitalizing on the fact that, you're going to take it with you and like be like, hey, look, it's the new Mario Kart. And then people will be like, oh, damn it, I want it as well. So I feel like Mario Kart's a great summer game. So I'd hope they have it out before then so that they can capitalize on that. Um, I guess the last thing from my list really to talk about is the Nintendo Direct. Um,
mm.
I think this is going to be the biggest Nintendo Direct ever. Like, I can't see it any other way.
Which one? The one for April?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, not the rumored Switch one.
yeah.
Yeah, not the rumored like Nintendo Switch one Direct in February. The Switch 2 Direct that's going to be in April. Sorry, because we've never had a Nintendo Direct introduce a new console like this. So I've just got to assume it's going to be the biggest Nintendo Direct ever.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of here's what the Switch can do, and there's a game running on it that they don't talk about, like they've done with Mario Kart. So they'll dedicate a lot of time saying, "Here's Mario Kart. This is coming. Here's whatever," and
Yeah,
then a bunch of stuff scheduled for 2026 will just be inconspicuously shown to
yeah,
add that
yeah,
sort of constant Nintendo in the discussion kind of thing.
yeah. The sizzle reel will actually be worth watching in this Direct, I think,
For sure. Yeah.
because there's going to be so much that they're not going to be able to feel like, they're not going to be able to show everything. So there'll be like a sizzle reel, and that'll, because I remember the Switch one, like the sizzle reel like announced Minecraft or something. Oh, it announced like a bunch of stuff, like Spyro potentially. At some point, the sizzle reel announced Spyro, and I'm like, that's a pretty big release in my opinion. But hey,
Yeah. I think a
so
lot
yeah,
of
it'll be worth watching.
definitely. I think a lot of third-party games are going to be
Yeah,
announced in that sizzle reel,
yeah,
because
yep,
obviously they've got the allegedly direct in a couple of weeks. That's going to be the last few months of the Switch One. A lot of
yep.
third-party games. It's 55 minutes into recording, and I'm going to say it. Potentially Rayman.
There he is. There he is. He's made it in. He's made it in.
But yeah, no, I think that's going to give third-party developers a chance to say
Yeah,
their last few ports, but nothing about the Switch 2 because they're not going to get a chance to yet. But the Switch 2 Direct will be Zelda, Mario, Splatoon, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, that sizzle
yeah.
reel's going to have like
It'd be
Doom,
big.
the Dark Ages, or whatever.
For sure. Like, and what do you think? So I'm pretty convinced that the big third party game that they're going to kind of really push is Elden Ring, personally. I'd
I
be
can see
interested
that.
to know what you think.
I've heard rumors. I say rumors, leaks from unconfirmed sources, so I don't know if this is true. That Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be on the Switch 2,
As
which,
well.
if that is true, that is monumental. If they can, because that game is still always being brought up as like, oh, this is the most stunning game ever. This is
Yeah.
why the PS4 power is fine. And I mean, if it has got the power of a PS4, then it
Yeah.
can run it. And if it can run what generally people agree is the best looking game ever, it's gonna do the
Shut the
Switch.
hell up.
Yeah, it's gonna make the Switch 2 stand out, or it's gonna cement the Switch 2 with as a player. A
Yeah,
big
yeah,
one.
I think so. And I think Rockstar have always been a pretty big supporter of Nintendo. We had like quite a few games come out on the Switch. And just recently with Red Dead Redemption 1. So Red Dead Redemption 2 would make a lot of sense because you can already play Red Dead Redemption on the Switch.
Yeah,
So maybe that would make a lot of sense.
I think it's possible. I think it'd be a really good move. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
Elden Ring as well. I think there's going to be some big, maybe game of the year. So yeah, one
Yeah.
of them that is going to.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I was between Red Dead Redemption 2, Baldur's Gate 3, and Elden Ring, and I just think Elden Ring, in a weird way, is very Nintendo. I don't know why. It just maybe it's just like the ties to Zelda and just the Souls games in general, and just how like Elden Ring was very kind of took cues from Breath of the Wild in a way. Yeah, I just have a feeling that might be the game.
Yeah, of those three that we've mentioned, that's definitely it's the one I would have expected first to show
Yes,
up there. Absolutely, I think it could be all three eventually.
I think so
Um,
as well. I
I've
think
heard
that
rumors that GTA 5 is going to get ported as well, which I think is absolutely, yeah, that's going to happen. Um, if that does happen, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is possible. But yeah,
yeah,
I can see
yeah, they
Elden
just
Ring.
gotta get one more port out of GTA 5 before GTA 6 comes out. They're just like gotta port it one more time.
It's going
Can't
to
let it
happen.
die. Yeah,
Just it's
I think
absolutely
it'd
going to
happen.
happen. Yeah,
I was
I love
honestly
what.
surprised it didn't happen on the Switch. Realistically,
Yeah, I think it could have run. What was it? A PS3 game?
it was. Yeah, it was on the
Yeah,
360 as well. I think it could have done, but I would guess that they potentially don't want to go back to that version of the game.
yeah, that's it. Every version that's come out since has been an improvement, and I think the
Yeah,
Switch
and it
2
has
would be on
had
par
like
with the PS4 and Xbox One version. So I guess it's like not a
yeah.
downward step necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, because it'd come with maybe missing functionality, like it wouldn't have the first person view and all this kind of stuff. So I guess that, feature wise, they probably didn't want to return to a inferior version. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, my only concern is something like that, or Red Dead Redemption, or Elden Ring. Who are they marketing this towards? Because this is a family console. What, other than I guess the fact that oh my god, look, you can get this to run on our console. What major benefit is there to launching with, let's say, Red Dead
Yeah,
Redemption? Families aren't going to give two tosses.
yeah.
Anyone that is interested has almost definitely already played it. Are you launching by saying, hey, look, you know that game you've already played? You can play it again, but it's going to run a little bit worse. I think it's probably still a fantastic idea, and it's going to show what the Switch 2 can do. I just
Yep.
don't necessarily think any of those games would sell very well.
I think Elden Ring would, personally. And the reason why I think it would do well is because I think it has the most crossover with like Nintendo purist fans, like people who just play Nintendo. I also think it kind of has that pick up and play magic that the Switch sold really well. And I think also this is an opportunity for them to bundle it with the expansion and sell them both. So potentially there'll be people who haven't played the expansion yet. Like I'll pick it up on Switch. So I feel like there's an opportunity to. It's not like a whole new game, but it's like we can sell a new SKU of the game that's actually the complete Elden Ring experience. It's got the Shadow of the Erd Tree and the original game, and potentially that might be a draw. I've already, I don't know if I've said on YouTube, but if Elden Ring comes to the Switch, I'm going to buy it and play it because I've never played it before.
Yeah.
I haven't wanted to kill myself or torture myself to that level just yet. But like if the Switch 2 comes out with it, I will put myself through that experience because I've heard it's fantastic, and people say it's a great game, so I really want to try it. So I feel like Elden Ring potentially out of the three could do, but then then Baldur's Gate 3, if they add mouse support, cursor mode, I feel like that's a really good selling point. So I don't know.
I think long games like those two are a huge Nintendo, or at least a portable console win. If I'm going on a train and I can play Baldur's Gate for 2.5 hours,
that's epic.
That's why I'm choosing the Switch port over any other port, right? Like it's a surefire win if you've got huge games like that, and especially with mouse support. The more I think about it, the more I think this is one of their best moves in a long time. If they do it right, I'm just concerned they're going to forget it exists. But it was such a prominent thing in the trailer.
And I feel like it's not a new thing. It's new to console, but it's not new to gaming, right? So like developers will understand what it is. They'll understand how they should implement it. But it's a new thing to have a game console come bundled with 2 mice in the box. And that's what's exciting. It's like this, everyone has it, like from day one.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's 2. Think about the party games.
Dude, yeah, multiplayer cursor mode. I don't know what that looks like, but
that's never been done before. You don't plug 2 mice into a computer and play together. But think about like your mouse is chasing a snake or something, and the first one to click on it wins, like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So one mouse is like the predator, and it's like a predator and prey game potentially. Like someone's the mouse, someone's the snake.
Oh, I
running
really
away
hope
from
they
each
do
other.
this. They've
That'd
got
be
to-
really fun.
Yeah, I'm all
but
in.
yeah. What should we call it?
Mouse hunt, mouse trap. There you go.
Oh, there you go, Mousetrap, brilliant. So Nintendo, if you're interested, you can reach us on Discord. Yeah, I don't know. I think because the mouse is such a universal thing in gaming, people know exactly what it is. It's very easy to tell people what it is. I think it's genius if they actually do implement it in the way that we're talking about, because you don't have to sell it. People know what it is. Like, they know how it works. But you're saying, okay, well, you now have a console that comes with this in the box.
Yeah, that's the other thing that makes me think about the reveal. It is... I don't need you to tell me that there's a mouse. I don't care, right? Because I already know what a mouse is. So yeah, the fact that it was such a big presence just makes me think that, yeah, you're not showing me brand new technology. You're showing me something that's going to be a key part of this console.
It'll be a key option in the way games are made.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. It's so exciting.
They're not showing other peripherals because there's going to be some, but they're not going to be the key players. The mouse took up 20 seconds of the 2-minute trailer.
Yeah, it was definitely there for at least 10 seconds. It must have been and it was a key point of it. Like, they went onto the rail and they scuttled around together, like showing them both moving together.
Real Joy-Con drift.
Real Joy-Con drift. Yeah, I'm very excited about what this could potentially be. Like, I think for the third parties, like, it's just an opportunity to really add the functionality that they normally reserve to PC to a console, which I don't think they're going to refuse it. I think they're going to jump at the opportunity for that because people enjoy it. I think for Nintendo, it's an opportunity to do some really crazy and wacky stuff that we just can't even think about right now. So yeah, excited for it in both ways. I'm aware I'm taking a lot of your time. So
no worries.
Real quick final question. Obviously, I think Metroid Prime is going to be a launch title. I don't know how you feel about that. I think it's going to be like a cross-gen thing, but
I don't think it's possible to ever know what's happening with that game at any given point.
True. I could be completely wrong. It gets announced in the direct that's rumored for next month, and then it just comes out in March. You never know.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to release on the Switch One. It has to. At this point, they would be stupid not to.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's a big enough selling point for general audiences to make it a Switch 2 exclusive to sell the console. Just because,
I agree.
Yeah, it's popular, it's big, but it's not Mario Kart big. So I think it'll be cross-gen. I for sure think if it comes out before the Switch 2, it'll be here's a better version on day one. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. I could see it launching even before the Switch 2 comes out, to be fair.
It could do.
And it'd just be just like day one, here's the patch, but like it's actually coming out before. But yeah, and then the last question I have for you. Sorry to jump, but I'm aware we've been recording for such a long time. I told you half an hour originally, and it's like an hour later, so I apologize.
That's like a full podcast episode.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Hopefully people will just stick it on and just get on with what they're doing. I'll probably do that tomorrow on my way to work to make sure it sounds good. How hyped are you out of 10 for Nintendo Switch 2? Where would you place yourself?
After this, probably like an 8. I was thinking
Nice.
6. I was happy. I was ready, but I was thinking it's fine. It's another Switch. I will get it for Mario Kart, and yeah. After this stuff about the mouse, I can't wait.
Dude, we're going to be so disappointed. It's going to be so terrible. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be great. I'm a Nintendo shill, so I'm like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 all the time for Nintendo. But yeah, I'm excited for just a Switch that is more competent, and I'm excited to see what Nintendo do with the hardware. So yeah, I'd say I'm similar to you, like 8 or 9 probably. Out of 10. Like, new Nintendo hardware just hits me in a different way. I fucking love the Wii U. I don't care how bad it is. Just, I was just excited to be there. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what we do with this new technology that we're getting. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Cool.
That's gonna be good.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me for this discussion. It was over an hour, so I'm gonna get to doing some editing, I think. But yeah, I really appreciate you. Do you want to shout out like your platforms and everything where people can find you? Put some links in the description, everyone.
Yeah, sure. On YouTube and Twitter, or X if you're so inclined, it's CorkBen. I have got a TikTok account. I stopped posting on it when I thought the whole platform was going to get nuked.
And now who knows? It's exciting.
Yeah, you never know. You might see my face on there. But yeah, I talk mainly about Rayman games and also like anything I like that I think is worthy of a video. So if you're interested, there it is.
Nice. You sell yourself short. Cork Ben's videos are really fun, really informative, and just if you're a big fan of Rayman or a big fan of gaming in general, like you'll hear some cool opinions and see some good thoughts and stuff put together. So I'd really recommend checking him out for sure.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And until next time, everyone, we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us for this hour-long video. Appreciate it. Bye.